Most dividend ETFs have a major flaw. Your payouts often dry up in the winter and spike in the summer. But today, I'm showing you how one specific ETF solved this problem to give you a perfectly flat line of cash flow every single month. We have talked about the LDGL Global Quality Dividends ETF quite a few times on this channel. This popular, globally diversified dividend ETF was launched just recently, at the beginning of 2026, and it comes with a very special feature. It pays out dividends every single month. Now, check this out. With a typical global monthly dividend ETF, you would usually expect a payout pattern like this. Since many companies only pay dividends once a year, mostly in the summer, the biggest payouts would heavily pile up during the summer months, while you would get barely any cash flow in other months. But not with this LDGL ETF. Its goal is to distribute the payouts completely evenly across all 12 months. And indeed, if you look at the payouts so far, you can see that the ETF has absolutely kept its promise. Stable, constant cash flow. A true dream for every dividend investor. I have been wondering for a long time how they actually pull this off, and I finally figured out how they actually make it happen. An LDGL sales manager personally explained it in this German Just ETF video. I found his explanation really cleared things up, so I want to share it with you today and quickly summarize the most important points. But before we dive in, the usual disclaimer applies. This is not financial advice, just my own opinions and experiences. So, how does the fund management manage to keep the cash flow so perfectly steady every month? It works like this. The fund holds around 950 different companies. The management analyzes these companies and projects their expected dividend yield for the next 12 months. Let's use an example and assume the ETF expects to collect a 5% dividend yield in the upcoming fiscal year. From this 5%, they first subtract the ETF fees, which means the TER of 0.29%. On top of that, they deduct taxes that occur at the ETF level, like withholding taxes. After these deductions, let's say a 4.5% dividend yield is left over. One basic idea would be to simply divide this 4.5% by 12 months. This would mean that if you invested 1,000 euros, you'd expect to see exactly 3.75 euros hit your account every single month. So why doesn't LDGL just do that? Simply because, in the real world, those payments would still fluctuate. Companies do not pay their dividends evenly throughout the year. Most of the cash rolls in during spring and summer, while winter is much more quiet. Plus, companies can always unexpectedly cut or completely cancel their dividends. To prevent exactly that, the management takes a much more conservative approach. The LDGL ETF starts by paying out only about 3.50 euros per 1,000 euros invested each month, keeping the remaining 25 cents as a safety buffer. This cash buffer bridges the gap during dry months when less dividend money flows in, reducing the need for the ETF to pay you out of its actual stock substance. However, keep one important thing in mind. Even with this buffer, there is no guarantee that your monthly payout will always stay exactly the same. It can still fluctuate a bit, depending on how the company's actual dividends develop. All right, so during the year, you receive a slightly lower, conservative payout. But wait a minute. What happens to that leftover money? Didn't we say earlier that the ETF wants to pay out all collected dividends to the investors? Well, here is the good news for us. If the cash reserve is not fully used up by the end of the year, that leftover money gets paid out to you too. This extra payout happens in the final month of the ETF's fiscal year. The fiscal year for this ETF runs from July to June. However, since we saw a completely normal payout in June that was identical to all previous months, this means either the safety cushion was already used up or the leftover amount will be paid out as a bonus in July. We'll just have to wait and see. Either way, I am really excited to see how the payout amounts will level out in the new fiscal year. What do you think about this unique concept from L&G? Do you already have this ETF in your portfolio? Or do you prefer to stick with the classics from Vanguard or Van Eck? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.